Hi everyone, it's Katherine Skaggs, and it's May 6th. It's been a few days since I was online. Life got crazy busy the 1st of May. I was going to do a full on forecast for you for 2021, and I got sidelined with a lot of different things that were not planned. So, what I'd love to do is give you an overview now of the rest of May. What do we have going on? What's up? Obviously, I had a lot of discombobulation, chaos, and things to do, and time to just rest in between the doingness. And I wonder if you did too. Has it been crazy? It seems like that comes up all the time. So, how can we move through May? We've got a new moon coming up this next week that I will do a new moon reading. We've also got, just May showers, new ways for things to come up from these spring times to help us manifest, to help us bring abundance, to help us come back into community. A lot of things are changing. So let's see what the mythical goddess Tro wants to bring in, and if we got any shaman goddess wisdom to bring in, we'll do that too. But let's start with a 15 card spread this morning and see what the cards want to tell us about May and its energies, the next couple of weeks, and how to manage our time, how to create anew, to come back into community and abundance, and to continue to be well. I think we ought to be well in all ways. All right, so the first three cards are always about who we are entering into the question, entering into this time period of May that we have left. We got 3 weeks something left of this month. It's very interesting. We've got 2 fire cards and an earth card at the very center cards representing who we are. It's kind of interesting. We've got a negative card, which is part of the lower arcana. It's our human experience. The earth, the air, the fire, and the water cards are all about our human experience. And we've got self-destruction. What's that tell me? It tells me as we come into May with the challenges that we may be feeling really some intense energies that we're turning against ourselves, that we're in a transformative time. So any negative self-doubt, self-deprecation, any of those experiences coming up are coming up to be burned away. That we're moving into May with some baggage, but we're bringing it to the fire. That it's coming to our awareness, it's coming to our attention. It doesn't feel good, but we can't live with it. It's got to change, it's got to transform. So on this human journey, we're seeing criticism, extremism, we've talked about it. We're seeing destruction, but we need to take it from self-destruction to sacred destruction. I've talked about sacred destruction in the past as this process of letting go of an old cycle, letting go of old habits, so that we can be born anew into a different way of being. So as we walk into May with any of this fiery, angry energy, we need to bring that to a sacred fire ceremony so that we honor any anger that's telling us that we're just out of balance. We're in some place we shouldn't be. We need to redirect our energy and where we are so that that fire is passion instead of self-destruction. So this is a warning card right from the get-go as we come to this month to mind our energy, to do our personal and spiritual work so that we're not taking anger or self-destructive patterns into our relationships, into our work, or anything we're creating. So this is up for healing. That's the good news, that it's coming to our attention. But right next to that, we've got the child of fire, which is creativity. It's the most blessed energy born of this life force within us to be a creator. So sitting next to self-destruction, it tells me that for us to overcome the places where we haven't been happy within our own beings, that we've got old habits and patterns that can't go on the ride, is that our creativity is right here to help us. What would you like to dream up new? And not just dream it up, but bring that passion and fire to transform your life. If you're not happy about certain things in your life, it's time to let go of your focus on how unhappy you are and go, well, what can I create? And it might mean going in and getting some paints out and just letting that energy out so that you can free yourself of the challenges and the way those energies have held you captive. I was just talking to a good friend I ran into the other day about this. She started painting and she's not been a painter. She's very creative. But I talked to her about the intuitive creative process, meaning you're not necessarily thinking about what you're going to create, but first of all, it's like intuitively, what energy do you need to move? And this creative spark is very good at releasing energy through dance, through painting, through any creative act to first of all get out the energy that you're releasing and then focus on what you truly desire to create, where you're cleared of the restrictive or negative energies. So turn to your creativity and turn to community. This is one of our foundations too. It's been hard this last year or so to think that we can really be in community. But what this tells me is that as we overcome some of these self destructive patterns, both individually and collectively, is that we've got a foundation of community, whether it be on Zoom or getting back out into social circles in safe ways, that with our creativity and our friends and our tribe, is that we've got a great foundation for transforming as we move through this month and meet any challenges that may come up. All right, so the next three cards have to do with our overview for the next 3 weeks. All right, so another fire card. It just makes sense with the self-destruction and child card that we're here to rise up above the ashes of what's been. It seems like a repeated theme right now, which makes a lot of sense because we're in a highly transformative time. It's extreme. We're bringing the polarities up for us to see the darkness and the shadows in addition to the light. That to truly alchemize and transform our world, we can't just escape the challenges. We need to bring the light to where there's darkness. And that's where we bring the fire and burn down the darkness. We burn down the old structures, we let them go, and we rise above into a new, transformed, alchemized way of being. So this month is going to bring more alchemy. The opportunity is alchemy to rise above the challenges that have been, to not dwell in the challenges, but to let that fire burn away self-destruction, burn away destructive patterns in our communities, burn away old ways of being that don't work, and to come into a new enlightened heart. So if you look at this card, she's got her arms open and her heart open. And that's what we need to return to by purifying ourselves of that which is not love. It's not easy, but it is something that we can do. So next to that card, we've got Kuan Yin. Kuan Yin's the goddess of compassion and mercy. She's the empress in our deck. She's everything heart and benevolent. So it's time with that transformative energies is to move into this higher state of heart and consciousness, compassion, mercy, to give grace to our circumstances, to give grace and compassion to ourselves. This is our biggest challenge. We've got to give it here so we can give it to our friends that we've gone sideways with, that we can give it to our neighbors we may not know but feel like we're different, so we can give it to our community and to the larger whole. So this is really up for us to change and to move into the heart. But she is being a goddess, a higher arcana card. It tells me we have this help from the heavenly realms, from the higher dimensions, is to truly be initiated more into heart and to bring that into our world. So focus on that you're lifting above your challenges, you're purifying yourself so that you can really be a heart-centered being. All right, so we got another negative card. It's a mental card. So this is what we're transforming. It's that mental, critical, separative judgment energy that gets us into trouble. Every time it gets us into trouble. It can be turned towards ourselves, self-criticism, but it also may be the energy that we're feeling, especially if you're empathic, at the world at large that's like, I'm this way and you're that way, and it's bad. So any place that that energy shows up, this is what's being transformed. The mental, critical, separative energy where you feel harsh edges. So within yourself and within the world around you, be kind and compassionate. Offer it to the fire to purify. And know that that's what we're lifting above. It's really important because that, if you look at politics, you look at people with different belief systems religiously, class, color, you name it, we've got it. We've got it going on where we've separated ourselves and made us one better than another, one right or wrong, and that's really up to heal. We've got to come back to the way of the heart. There is no other way as far as I'm concerned. If we want harmony between the different classes, between the different races, between the different political systems, we've got to find a way of heart that works for everybody. With my upbringing Christian and my uh, expanded spiritual point of view, there's always the golden rule that what you do to another, you do to yourself. What is good for you should be good for all. And that's a really simple truth that we all need to work on so that we overcome prejudice, we overcome judgment of others and ourselves. So I could get on my bandwagon. I got preachers in my background, so you know that I've got that too. All right. So, what are our lessons this month? What is really up? And this, again, another fire card, conflict. It's exactly what I've already been speaking to. This is like, I also, whenever I look at this card and I see all these dragons entwined, this 5 of fire that represents conflict, I see that it's not only our conflict in our personal lives, it's the collective's conflict. But if you look at that, it kind of reminds me like screwed up DNA. It just is, this is ancestral conflict. This is old conflict that's been on this planet for hundreds or thousands of years, where man's been conquering man, where someone's always better than another. And so we have to deal with it, first of all, in ourselves. I'll be offering some ancestral healing coming up here soon in some of my healing workshops, my shamanic healing sessions, for us to attend to the lineages that we came into when we incarnated into these bodies. So, fire ceremony is up again to purify ourselves at the most basic levels. First of all, our personalities and our lives we have now. And that any intentions that you set for healing and harmony can also include your mother, your father, their parents, and going back, just set an intention that anytime you heal, that your ancestors get healing, and that anyone who comes after you gets healing, so that you really are, through your own purity, you make a big difference beyond anything you can imagine. So we're up to clean up any conflict. If you have that show up this month, it's your opportunity to go back to that energy of Kuan Yin and compassion, so that you can cool those fires. Know that whoever's in your face that's kind of tripping your trigger, go to your best to recognize it's happening. Stop yourself. Don't throw out words that are hurtful. Sit in your heart until you have heart words, heart energy that you can give. And I'll know that you're purifying something that is yours to do, and that there is no one to blame for how you feel. You're just feeling that, even though other people take actions you may not like. So, and that's very simplified. So the other piece that's up is child of innocence. So next to that conflict, the challenge is to be in your innocence and know that you're safe. You've got this child in the seas, which is the waters of life, your emotional self. And she's completely protected in this conch shell. She's resting. She's not worried about the big old storm going on. So know that no matter the conflict or the storm of life that's happening, you're safe. That'll be part of your classroom of life this next 3 weeks, is to work on tempering the waters by just going to a place where you're peaceful. Meditation, walks in nature, shamanic journey work, body work, emotional work where you may deal with shadows, but being supported by someone who's always bringing you to the light. And also where you put the light into where the challenges are. Wherever light goes, it brings light. So knowing that's kind of our homework to alchemize our emotional challenges and these other fiery, conflictive energies is to continue to pour light into ourselves and into the situation with compassion. All right, next to those two cards, we have the Maiden of Seas, another emotional water suit that has to do with the waters of life, again, the emotions that go on. She's the passion card. And with that passion card, I need to close my door. Hang on. I apologize. I got someone working on the house, and apparently I can hear them doing stuff outside. The Maiden Passion is here to remind us that our challenge as we clean out these other ways is to go back to that heart of all that we love. What do we desire through passion? What's our true heart's desires? Follow that. That's going to be our classroom again of life. Our challenges is to move our attention out of the conflicts when we are cleaning them. And part of the way that we get out of the trap of the challenges is to move to what we love, is to focus on what we love. So, another universal law and truth is that whatever you focus on expands. Now, when you're distracted by pain and suffering and conflict and anger, that's hard. It's really hard to get to the feeling and the desire of like what I really want. What do I want? Because we've got all these things that have just totally overwhelmed us with distraction and negative energy. So purify yourself and then return back to some process where you put your prayers every day in gratitude for thank you for the life I have. Thank you for the blessings I have. Thank you for all the passion for creating my life in a manner that serves my heart and serves my soul and serves the world around me. Those are simple practices that aren't always easy when we're in challenges. But that'll be our lesson. That'll be our homework, is to create a new pattern, a new habit that is coming back to gratitude and prayer and passion for living life as we transcend these things that we're purifying. Okay. How do we do this? What are the actions that are going to help us achieve these things so far? And right at the center is Uzume. She's the sacred fool. And in Shinto world, she's a Shinto goddess who's the goddess of laughter and mirth. And she's all about levity. Lighten up. You know, the sacred fool, or the Hayoka in Native American, the sacred clown, is all about, coming into all the crazy challenges and stepping back and have a different perspective that what a crazy movie we got going on here. Lighten up. Bring some levity and lightness, not cynicism. There's a real difference between lightening up and being cynical. Cynical is just born of anger and judgment. So lightening up is kind of like, yeah, I'm a fool sometimes, I've done stupid stuff. And, oh, that wasn't any fun. And instead of berating yourself, take it to heart, but lighten up in your heart, knowing that was one of your soul's journeys and experiences. What can you get from it? And as you lighten up, you will bring the light back into your life. If you want to know more about Uzume, I've done some other videos on her. Go to my website, KatherineSkaggs.com. You'll learn more. She's an amazing teacher to help us. So watch a funny movie, laugh at the crazy mistakes you've made, and do your best to lighten up. And what's kind of cool is Amaterasu is right next to Uzume. And in the Shinto story, part of the story is Amaterasu, this beautiful sun goddess, went into the caves after an argument with her brother, and the world went dark. So everything was dying because there was no sun, there was no light. And in the midst of it, all the gods and goddesses were complaining and unhappy, and they were afraid because they couldn't get her out of the cave. Well, Uzume comes along with her drum and sits it up by a big campfire where all the gods and goddesses are lamenting. And she gets on her drum and starts doing a lewd and bawdy striptease. And she's so crazy and so funny that they start laughing loudly. They're crying, they're laughing so hard at her antics. And because Amaterasu could hear them in the cave, she finally rolled the stone away and came out. So it was Uzume's lightness that brought the sun back, that brought this beauty back to the world, that brought the energy that grows our lives back. So with them hand in hand here, it says lighten up and come back and be the sunshine in your own life. Be the light wherever you go. Be lightness. Be laughter. Be joy. Bring beauty back. And so that can be a big task at times, but it's time. And we've got the sun coming back here in the northern part of the world that's helpful, and that's going to help us. All right. The other piece is the Two of Seas, the love card, which is really awesome to have here because it tells me, this is our emotional suit. This is about relationship with other as well as ourselves. And it is about really dancing in joyful energies with our compadres, whether it be an individual love interest or those we meet along the path, that we bring that playful energy of dolphin in, that we bring the joyful play in the waters of life, that is part of our mission and our activity here for our healing and our transformation, is to not only be light and be the sunshine, but to be the love that we bring to everyone we meet, and that we'll find that joy as we engage with that true intention and action. All right. If we do that, we've got a lot of fire today. But if we do that in our outcome, the Ace of Fire tells us that we're going to be completely transformed. We're going to have our Kundalini is going to really clean us and clear us. These fires are going to purify us. We're going to let go of our mental activity that is destructive and to be in a more illuminated and enlightened state of being. And this shows me that we have a lot of help from the angels to support us in becoming more illuminated as we go through this journey. So again, May offers us this time period of cleaning and clearing, as well as coming back to our hearts and awakening even more to be more objective in this duality, that we can take the experiences of the duality to alchemize them by bringing in heart, by bringing in light into the darkness, into the misunderstandings, into any place that's been difficult. As we do what we've been guided to do, we're going to wake up more, we're going to be happier, we're going to be free. And part of that, you'll see the Maiden Revolution. She's showing up a lot these days. She's naked in this. She's pure. Nakedness in a dream or in symbolic artwork is always this language of the mind and the soul that says you're honest, you're completely honest. And we're coming to greater honesty, which we must do if we want to wake up. And purity. She's showing herself to the world. She's authentic. She's on fire and passionate, and she has evolved and revolutionized her life. So this is about revolution on a personal level, as well as a global level and a mass consciousness level. All that we're going through in our reality right now is to bring us up to an enlightened state, an evolved state of being, where we can really enjoy our world. All right, so the patience card is here. It's a mental suit. Our mind is usually the part that gives us the most trouble in all of our mind, body, spirit. So the patience card tells me that as we come through this time period of May, as we get to the end, there's some things that we're still wanting to manifest in our reality born out of these intentions. And she says we'll be about 9.5 months pregnant by the end of the month, meaning just hang in there, be present. She's completely patient. This is a card of balance between the mental and between your manifesting and your physical reality. And if you notice, she's just got her arms open, her hands open to the heavens, and everything is pouring down upon her. Her eyes are closed. She's turned inward. She's reflecting. And she knows that everything is in perfect timing. So this patience card says that even though you're waking up, everything is evolving and you're in a personal and collective revolution, that there's still more things that are happening, that you just get to be present and know that everything is in order and there's no hurry in getting there. We really are beginning to collapse physical time as we've known it. And so it's part of the chaos we've been feeling, part of the anxiety we've been feeling, because we're moving into a time of intuition, and instead of linear production, linear reasoning model, we're literally collapsing that as we're evolving. To be able to live in this intuitive present time instead of being pulled to the past or the future all the time. So it's really important to trust that you're exactly where you need to be, and take a deep breath and relax best you can with your practices to know that there's some good outcomes that are unfolding as you stay with your heart's passion, as you stay in compassion, and you trust that you've got the support you need. We're also moving out of this piece, for many of us, that's difficult, that is about being a solo wolf, and actually moving to the process where you've got support. So my name's Katherine Skaggs, and I hope you enjoyed the Mythical Goddess Tarot today. Check my website out, katherineskaggs.com, and let's connect.